Ever wondered why witches ride broomsticks? The answer isn't what you'd expect. That familiar Halloween image of a cackling witch soaring through the night sky has a history far more shocking than most realize. What if I told you that the connection between witches and broomsticks involves hallucinogenic drugs, sexual rituals, and a fear of female independence? Buckle up. This isn't the sanitized fairy tale you grew up with. The earliest pictures of witches on broomsticks appeared around 1451 in a French manuscript called The Defender of Ladies. These images showed women flying through the air, one on a broomstick and another on a plain stick. Both wore headscarves, marking them as Waldensians, a Christian group, the Catholic Church, labeled as heretics partly because they allowed women to preach publicly. Just 2 years later, in 1453, we get the first recorded confession of someone actually riding a broomstick. Guillaume Edelon, a priest from near Paris, admitted to this after being arrested for publicly criticizing the church's warnings about witches. Here's the catch. His confession came under torture, and despite taking it back later, he spent the rest of his life in prison. Some researchers think the whole witch on a broomstick idea might have started with ancient farming rituals. Before Christianity violently suppressed Europe's indigenous pagan traditions through forced conversions and persecution, farmers would jump and dance while straddling poles, pitchforks, or brooms under the full moon. They believed these broomstick dances would help their crops grow taller. As new religious beliefs took hold, these old practices started looking suspicious. But the truly disturbing explanation involves something called flying ointments. During the Middle Ages, records describe special mixtures supposedly used by witches. These ointments contained plants like deadly nightshade, henbane, mandrake, and jimson weed, all highly poisonous and hallucinogenic. These plants contain chemicals called tropane alkaloids that cause powerful hallucinations, including sensations of flying. The problem was that eating these plants could kill you. So instead, people applied them to their skin, particularly areas where the skin is thin and absorption is better. A 15th century theologian named Jordanus de Bergamo wrote that the witches confess that on certain days or nights they anoint a staff and ride on it to the appointed place, or anoint themselves under the arms and in other hairy places. Let's be more direct. These ointments were often applied to the genitals. A 1324 investigation of Lady Alice Keidler, a wealthy Irish widow accused of witchcraft, found a pipe of ointment wherewith she greased a staff, upon which she ambled and galloped through thick and thin. The broomstick handle, coated with these hallucinogenic substances, served a dual purpose, both for applying the drugs and for sexual stimulation. The resulting hallucinations were interpreted as flying, or traveling to witch gatherings called sabbats. A researcher named Gustav Schenk described the effects of these drugs in 1966. Each part of my body seemed to be going off on its own, and I was seized with the fear that I was falling apart. At the same time, I experienced an intoxicating sensation of flying. During the European witch hunts from roughly 1450 to 1750, the image of women flying on broomsticks became central to accusations. Antoine Rose, known as the Witch of Savoy, confessed under torture in 1477 that the devil gave her a stick and a pot of ointment. She would smear the ointment on the stick, put it between her legs and say, "Go, in the name of the devil, go." The Catholic Church's infamous witch-hunting manual, The Hammer of Witches, published in 1487, specifically targeted women. It claimed women were weaker and more likely to fall under demonic influence. The image of women flying on broomsticks to meet with the devil became a powerful symbol of female rebellion against religious and social rules. Think about what the broomstick represented. It was a common household tool associated with women's work. When a woman supposedly abandoned her domestic duties to fly through the night, it symbolized a rejection of her proper place in society. This frightened those in power during a time when controlling women was a priority. Court records from witch trials often included spectral evidence, claims that accusers had seen the accused flying on broomsticks or attending devil worship gatherings. These accusations led to the torture and execution of thousands of people, mostly women. As printing technology improved in the 16th and 17th centuries, woodcut images of witches on broomsticks spread widely. Artists like Hans Baldung Grien and Albrecht Dürer created influential pictures of witches, often naked or in sexual poses, connecting witchcraft with female sexuality and moral wrongdoing. By the 18th century, as witch hunts died down, the image of the witch began to change. Folk tales collected by the Brothers Grimm preserved the witch on a broomstick image, but more as a fairy tale character than a real threat. The 20th century brought even bigger changes. Lyman Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz in 1900 and its 1939 film adaptation gave us the now familiar green-skinned witch with a pointed hat and broomstick. Halloween decorations and costumes further sanitized the image. In recent decades, neo-pagan movements like Wicca have tried to reclaim and redefine witchcraft as a nature-based spiritual practice. The broomstick has been reinterpreted as a symbol of female power rather than evil. Modern pop culture continues to use the witch broomstick image from Harry Potter, where broomsticks are basically magical sports equipment, to countless Halloween decorations. But these modern versions hide the disturbing historical origins. So next time you see that familiar silhouette of a witch on a broomstick against the moon, remember, behind this seemingly innocent Halloween icon lies a complex history of drug use, sexual practices, gender politics, and religious persecution. The truth is far stranger and darker than fiction. If you learned something new from this video, please like and share it with friends and family, and subscribe to History Scroll for more interesting videos like this.